All right, transitioning. Let's roll in the intro.
Oh my gosh. Oh, it's coming in hot. This is so hot.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another Technically Speaking live show.
It's so hot.
If you tuned in earlier...
Oh, amateurs.
Mine's off. There we go. If you tuned in earlier, you may have heard some strong adult language.
Parental discretion is advised.
That's totally me.
Yeah, totally. Because I was on camera. It was totally you, like,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So this is a very experimental live stream that we're doing right now. We have moved over to this entirely new platform, and we were in the process of testing and setup, and realized, oh, we got to go live in like 3 minutes.
Yep.
Fired up the live stream, tried to go and do some testing, and realized that we were live. We were not just testing live, we were live, but on an old event. So
we were real live. We have now since really deleted that event. I assure you, because that video demonetized.
Oh, no question. No
Demonetized.
question. You'll also.
Oh, did that show up? What
I don't
happened?
know. We'll see.
You didn't have to do that, man.
I meant to do $1.
Oh, man.
Whoops. Extra zero there.
So, yes, once again, this is the Technically Speaking live show. Each week, Scott and I get together to talk about the latest happenings in tech. And we are joined this week by the one and only, the venerable, the man himself, Stats.
Thank God Stats was here. Let me
For
go ahead and
sure.
tell you that real quick.
For sure.
Because if...
There it is. It showed up.
Did it show up?
Yeah, sure
Oh,
did.
Cool.
So,
Because if had Stats not shown up, we probably still would be live on another event. I can assure you of that. Because parental discretion is advised.
So for those of you watching on the actual live stream itself, you should see some new features up at the top of the screen up there. You will have seen Stats himself, Mr. Andrew P. Smith, who was kind enough to donate a super chat to us just to make sure that showed up. And then down here in the corner, wait, no, on the screen it's over here. This side, right beside me, you will see the chat
right
window.
there.
So
Right over there.
you are welcome
right
to
here.
yes, this right here, this squarish down here. Chat stuff should show up on screen now. So looking forward to seeing how that works. Keep it PG, or I'll ban you. Warning you now.
No, we won't. Did you hear him earlier? He ain't banning nothing. Nobody's getting banned.
You know, we just won't read your comment.
Kicked out of the 1% studios anymore. He was never really kicked out. He was just... He felt like he was too good for us. And he didn't want to come to the 1% studios. He needed just 0.5%.
Just, yeah, roundabout. I mean, 1/4%. I mean, I feel like 0.5% is just... There's just an implication with 0.5%. It's just a lot of pressure. I don't know if I'm really up to the job for 0.5%. Anyway.
What?
Kicked out of the 1% studio, and I'm down to 0.5%.
He just corrected himself.
Okay, I was like... I thought he was talking about you.
No.
No, about you?
No, about me.
It's my 1% studio now. This right here. I am the captain now. I am the captain now.
It's the 1% studio, and then the other 99%.
Was that a fat joke?
No, it wasn't. But I can see why you would take it that way.
PG-ish, okay, it's good. Yeah. I haven't really said much because Greg said a whole lot of words right before we got started.
Show did. So this week,
It's okay, buddy.
yeah. Oh yeah, I have the distinction of dropping the first F-bomb.
You
on
did.
camera. I did.
I know.
If I could turn that into a resume bullet, I would.
Well, I mean, you can.
I'm proud of that one.
No, but you'll
It's
notice I
real
talked
nice.
last week about a lot of the stuff that Greg has done with the channel. 4K camera, you can probably notice it. All of this work he's done, all of the new streaming setup that he has done, this is all Greg. I'm now relegated to just marketing and graphic design.
I mean, you're not wrong.
I am the pretty face.
You're not wrong. So this week, probably the biggest bit of news, so we can just kind of jump right into topics instead of talking about me cursing on camera. This week, the biggest news has to be CES, of which one of our good friends, the Everyday Dad, who is out there in the comments, I see you working.
So he got done flying. He's back home.
Outstanding. I would love, go ahead and drop some comments there. I'd love to get some early feedback about just how much fun you had, how much walking you did. I'm hoping you kept track of how many miles you walked, because, boy, that's a hike.
I did not
That's
check Instagram to see if you completed your 30-day challenge for your mile per day.
That'll be interesting. So
I think you did, though.
CES is
Consumer
just wrapped up. The Consumer Electronics Show.
Showcase.
that happens every year at this time out in Las Vegas, Nevada. It is basically the single biggest showcase of all of the new technology that is coming out supposedly, and there's also a lot of what we would call in the industry vaporware. It's CES is notorious for stuff that it's a product, it's technology.
People are never going to
why?
buy it. Like, why did you make it? You made it just because you could. Like, I'm going to make this thing because I can. You spent
much, yeah.
God knows how much money making this thing. Alexa-powered toilets. That's going to be a real thing.
It is.
There are some things that I actually really like about that toilet, by the way.
Like the lid design.
The lid design, the lighting.
Okay, yeah, I'll
The
give you that
music.
one. Yeah. I'll give you
I'm
that one.
all on board.
I'll give you all
You
of
give
that.
me a lit up Bluetooth speaker crapper, I'm all day. Like, give it to me.
Will it flush golf balls though?
I don't know. My toilet
Probably
flushes
won't.
golf balls. That's what got me to buy it.
That's a
Yeah.
selling point for you, is that it flushes golf balls?
It was a.
It was on the box. It was effective marketing. It was on the box. I walked up and goes, "You can put a dozen golf balls down here." Not that I would. I don't know why I would do that.
I was going to say, on average, how many golf balls do you flush? Or is it you?
I mean, it depends. Hey, this show is taking a really weird turn already.
So dumb.
How many? I don't know. How many do I need to flush? That's a better question. No, but like
the point is, I could flush them all though.
But this is CES for me. It's like
Yeah.
when you go to things like Samsung Unpacked, or you
Yeah.
go to the Apple event, or you go to the Google event. That's not vaporware.
Right.
Well, mostly Google, Apple AirPlay, or no, not AirPlay, but AirPower, whatever that.
Yeah.
that
The wireless
vaporware,
charging. Yeah.
vaporware.
They've been
and
talking
then
about that
things
forever.
that take a little while for Google to release, like Duplex was a little
Yeah.
bit longer to release, but it still came out. Some of this stuff, like Kohler released stuff for their bathroom last year at CES, and they're like, it maybe could kind of come out this year. So they're a full 365 plus behind.
I was gonna say the Kohler they've talked about at least since last year. It may have even been the year before when they were talking about the Alexa powered toilet. Now whether or not this has actually been a released product, that's the interesting thing about CES. You see a lot of early pre-market products. They're just trying to get hype for it. They're trying to see how much interest there is in it. And so one of my all-time favorite things to do about this time every year is to look at, I call it peak CES. It's just the most glorious crap on the planet that just makes you scratch your head and say, like, who dreamed up this insane idea? The Kohler toilet was one of them.
So I got a thought about the Kohler
Yeah,
toilet.
okay.
Right? So I don't hate to interrupt you, but I don't want to get off this toilet yet.
No.
Pause. Pardon the pun.
Yeah.
If I'm
What you did,
if I'm on my Pixel phone, talking to the Google Assistant,
Yes.
is the Google Assistant crapping on Siri or Alexa?
What you did there. It's a joke. Do you get the joke? It's a crappy joke. Up high.
Oh god, I was cooking on that one for a while. That did not go. I was sitting on that one for a while. That did not go over well at all.
No, that was.
Anyway, so I'm going to pause there. If you have someone who has an iPhone XS Max, an iPhone 10, or a Google Pixel 3 XL, and they're not in this chat,
You can come out with it right now.
no, hang on. Go get them. Get them in this chat. Have them make a comment about having one of those three phones. You'll see right here, we're going to give 1, 2, maybe 3 away. So if you have one of those devices that I just mentioned, leave a comment. Moving on.
Moving right along. So I want to just talk about, again, that peak CES nonsense. Like, what were your favorite, just absurdly ridiculous products?
Google built a theme park in the parking lot.
Which was awesome.
People hate it. I think they're dumb. Google, I think it's great. I think the people who hate it is dumb because Google did exactly what they needed to do.
Yeah.
And they proved out a lot of the different use cases for the assistant.
Yeah.
Through an amusement park. I thought it was a very interesting, fun way to talk about it. Like, you're on this ride.
Yeah.
You got to get a cake for grandma.
Sure.
You get this cake for grandma, but the baker only speaks French. So it immediately evokes the
Google
live
Translate.
on one of the hubs.
Yeah.
To get the cake or the pie. That's a great idea.
I mean, Google is known for coming up with these, like, insane, ridiculous, frankly contrived examples of, like, when and why you would need their technology. Do you remember Google Glass when they did the skydiving into the event?
That was pretty dope. Though.
It was a great thing, but I mean, this is not new for Google, so I don't understand why everyone's hating on it. But it was. Let's be weird. Let's be real. It was weird. It was weird. Let's be weird.
Let's be weird. The theme park?
It was weird.
I thought it was awesome.
I thought it was neat, but I think it's
a very cool way to try to tell. It's an interesting way to tell the story of why you may or may not ever need to use the Google Assistant. Which now, like they mentioned, it's going to be over on a billion devices. A billion with a B. A billion.
I cannot even begin to wrap my head around that. Like,
that's a lot of people.
A million is difficult to, if you really think about it, like try and envision a million of something. Mm-hmm. That's challenging by itself. A billion though?
Right. A billion. Like a billion people, billion devices. I can't say people.
Yeah,
a billion devices. And I think I have at least 500 million of them in my home. At least.
That's
rounding error.
Solid 500 million of those devices.
500 million in there. So I thought that was really cool. And that wasn't even inside of CES.
Yeah.
I thought another one that was really, really cool was the foldable phone. That I thought was peak dumb. So dumb.
I mean, that one... You tentatively have my attention. If you're going to talk about a foldable display, that's something that I'm interested in, but I feel like a phone is the absolute wrong angle to take on that. I mean, other than the idea of having I got a tablet that I can fold up to the size of a phone, but screen protectors, like what happens when you scratch the screen?
What happens if you crack the screen?
How is that not at the forefront of their design when they're coming up with this phone? Is how do we protect this thing?
The thing that really bothers me, it would be the gap between the two folds. Like,
oh yeah, because it doesn't fold flat.
Yeah, it doesn't. Like there's
it's teardropped.
Yeah,
like the hinges.
I wasn't even talking. Yeah, you're right. It's teardrop. But what I'm talking about is like the tiniest gap between them. Not even at the big teardrop.
Yeah.
Where the fold is. Actually, at the very end, where the two fold like this.
Yeah.
Like that would bother me. Like my OCD. That would bother me. And what am I going to do? At that point, I'm holding just glass. Yeah. Do I have a phone? Do I have a tablet? Am I holding a what was the old Nexus 7?
Oh, yeah.
Am I holding a Nexus 7 to my face?
Basically, at that point. I mean, and that thing is...
I don't get it.
Thick! That phone is team thick.
Oh, that
thing is a monster.
That thing was really, really... Yes, okay, the Royale. That is what he's talking about.
The Royale.
The folding display. They put them on top of hats. I did see that guy in one of the pictures with the folding hat. Or the hat that folded. I think that's... Again, I don't get the foldable phone thing.
But as exploratory technology, the idea of having a display that does not have to conform to a flat plane, I am in. I think it is fantastic. That is a science fiction dream come true to have these just arbitrary shaped displays. I think that is awesome. I think that is important. I think that design idea will make its way forward. However, you got a long way to go as far as material design goes before you could do something like that on a phone and know that it's going to hold up to how people use their devices. I have on my phone right now, that was installed last week after the live show, a White Stone Dome screen protector on my Pixel 2 XL. What do you see right there, Scott?
No!
Oh yeah!
How did you do that?
I cracked it like the day after. I don't even know how I did it. I have no idea. And that fundamentally is my problem with this idea of like a foldable phone, or even it shows up with Samsung's the edge-to-edge screen they have on their, what they started at, the S8 or the S9 when they started doing the active edge thing.
Oh no!
How do you do?
6.
Was it really that long ago?
Yeah, it was a really long time ago.
Wow. Okay.
Corey still has one. That's how I know.
Gotcha. But how do you do glass screen protectors for that?
You don't get glass.
For sure, you have to do plastic at best, and then you have to make the plastic screen protector a weird shape to conform evenly across the entire thing.
I don't get it. Like the foldable phone thing, I don't get it. But again, not a tablet guy. I don't want a tablet in my pocket. I just don't. I want a phone in my pocket. Pause.
I'm with you.
Like I just don't think it's that was weird. The massaging chairs that the Everyday Dad mentioned, I did see those. I looked those up. Those are not cheap.
No.
They look great. Not cheap. Not necessarily right in my wheelhouse, but there was a pair of headphones that I was super stoked about.
There was a bunch of pair of headphones, to be fair.
Nura was a big one.
Nura had another pair of headphones that came out. They're the ones that had the over-the-ear headphones that also had like the weird rubbery thing that goes in your ear. Very strange.
I want to try them so bad.
I want to try them for sure.
$400.
They also had a pair of waterproof headphones, like straight up waterproof bone conducting headphones. They were headphones that basically sat on your temple and through bone conduction would play music. So that way for swimmers, basically, so you could be underwater swimming and you would still hear music. Well, I mean, that's crazy awesome. Not that bone conduction headphones are new or anything like that. It was just really cool to see that being used. What else? Oh, you want to talk about beautiful? Samsung talked about their 98-inch 8K TV. Because why not? 98-inch 8K. 8K.
Is that 98 inches?
No, that's 120 over there.
That one is. That's probably not too far. It's 8
Why
foot by
would you
4
want
foot.
that? Like, okay, want, bad, very bad word choice there. Want it, got it. It looks great. If you watch a lot of TV, fantastic. I don't
look at the there's a couple of videos or at least GIFs of people basically standing in front of the TV and it looks. I don't even have the words to describe how just absurdly clear it looks, just from the angle of like a guy just standing there as a consumer just looking at this thing, like a couple of feet away tops from this thing. The screen is gigantic, of course, and the clarity on it is bananas, man. Bananas. You don't need it. For sure you don't need it.
You don't. First of all, 98 inches, and no.
No?
No, why? No. I don't want, like, again, I don't watch a lot of, I sound like that grumpy old man, like, I'm gonna get off my lawn!
If it was at all affordable, I would be in like Flynn, because...
What's affordable? For 98-inch 8K, what is affordable? I have no concept of it.
I think it was something like $13,000 or something for that TV.
There's like 2 cameras that film in 8K.
So that becomes the big problem. Like, you want to talk about, like, what is the real message from CES is that there's a lot of companies that are looking at 8K displays, and we don't really, like, 4K really never made it to ubiquity. Everybody has 1080p at this point, right?
Oh, yeah.
720p is pretty hard to find people that have, unless you bought a TV way back when and you're still rocking this old 720p TV, it's almost hard to find 720p anymore. Just 1080p is just so cheap and so ubiquitous. Even I accidentally bought a 4K TV. The one upstairs is a 4K TV.
You bought it on accident?
Because it was the cheap one, and all I needed was just a cheap TV. Because my previous one I blew up. That's when I was I blew up the TV. So I just went for like a cheap TV just so that I could watch the football game like the next day. And that just happened to be the one that was on sale. And it was 4K. So it's not like 4K was the reason I bought it. Because I don't have... I mean, I've got an Xbox that'll do 4K. But I don't care. And I'm a cinema buff. I love movies. And I don't care about 4K. It's just not important. 8K, even less important.
1080p all day, every day. I'm going to ask this question. And I don't know the answer because I haven't been over to this person's house. But is the person who has a TV on his deck...
It is 720p.
It's 720p?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, because I don't know.
Yep.
It wouldn't shock me if it was 4K, though.
I think the one in the downstairs den is 4K.
That wouldn't surprise me.
He just commented.
Yeah.
His outdoor TV is 720p. There we go. Okay, I respect that. My point is like 720p, quite honestly, is good enough. It's good enough. Forget what you get. You get what you get. 1080p is more than enough. More than enough for your eyeballs to enjoy it. You put it up against an 8K or a 4K TV. Okay, when you see the difference, when you see what you're missing, sure.
So there's a lot of people that even have a hard time differentiating between 1080p and 4K. I can tell a difference, but it can be a challenge. Like, if you have a really dialed in 1080p screen, like the display itself is solid, I can understand how people would have a hard time. Again, side by side, different story, obvious. But if you just show someone a picture and say, is this 4K or is this 1080p? I can understand how it would be very difficult to tell the difference between the two. So isolated, does 4K really matter unless you have 1080p to compare it against? And then ratchet that up. If you have a hard time telling between 1080p and 4K, 4K and 8K?
Well,
Come
I
on
think
now.
it's still for me. It goes back to the programming. If 99%
completely
of programming is available in 1080, I'm going to buy a 1080 TV.
Yeah.
It's going to need to be well past 50% in 4K for me to look at a 4K TV.
I don't even think it needs to be that. 50%. Unpopular opinion. Here we go. Unpopular opinion. Here comes Scott. Like, womp, 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 womp. Okay, here it comes.
Grumpy old man Scott.
I think 75-inch TV is overrated and stupid. I don't think having a TV that large is really a requirement.
Yeah.
I just don't. I think a 42-inch television's fine. I would argue that, depending on the space, 36 inches is probably fine too. Pause. Just a true story. I look from here to over there.
Yeah.
I can see that. That's a pretty decent distance away. We're probably 25-ish feet away.
Sure.
We'll call it that.
Yeah.
25-ish feet. A larger television makes a lot of sense. I'm not going to watch on like a 10-inch screen way over there. I get that.
I agree.
Totally understand. But my problem is, you're going to shove a 75-inch television when you got 3 feet, right? Like, you got to look 3 feet.
Okay.
So I got to look at a whole TV like this.
That's a different story. When you get to a certain size of TV, there are obvious optimal viewing distances and optimal viewing angles. For sure. The 120-inch projector that I have over there is technically a little bit too close for where I have my couch.
There you go.
But I still like it.
Yeah,
watching that fight was glorious.
Especially when I took all y'all's money. But watching that fight was just fine.
That's accurate.
I don't think you need 4K,
true.
and I don't think you need a 75-inch television. 50-inch television is just fine.
50%. Okay.
50-inch television is just fine.
I will give you the 4K argument before I give you the size argument. Because it completely depends on like the layout of your house, where your TV is and stuff like that. I kind of wish the TV upstairs, because mine is 55 inches for the living room.
Okay.
I wish that one were a little bit bigger.
Okay.
So there you go.
In terms of the mystery man, it's stats.
Yes.
You can hear stats a lot better now because
he's closer
to the microphone-ish.
Stats is our living, breathing statistical analysis engine who basically fact checks us. Let's be real. He's our living embodiment of Google. So when we're like, hey, Stats, can you look up the thing with the stuff? That's what he does. So there you go.
And the other person I'm just ignoring because I can do that.
That's me?
No.
I thought you were me. I thought you were ignoring
No,
me.
I don't want to ignore it. I ignore you constantly. I don't have to listen to you. My thing is, it's like, I'm not a TV guy.
Yeah. So, I get that.
I have a problem spending
TV stuff.
I have a problem spending like multiple hundreds of dollars on televisions, but I'll easily drop $1,000 on a new phone without question.
What's funny is I get where you're coming from because you don't watch TV.
Nope.
Neither do I. So you're spending multiple hundreds or thousands of dollars, whatever. Well, maybe not multiple thousands, but multiple hundreds of dollars on a phone is. I mean, that's my, laptop, desktop, whatever. Like, I consume the overwhelming majority of my media not on a TV. By a long shot.
That's fair.
So, I'm with you on that one. But, I mean, I'm still interested in television technology because eventually all that stuff bleeds down into, especially the high-end stuff, bleeds down into, monitor technology or laptops or whatever. When they get into, like, really interesting, pushing the bounds of technology. Case in point, I don't know if you saw, did you see the micro LED?
Display? I did.
Dude, they made this gigantic,
cool.
arbitrary sized TV that they just called the Wall. There's a couple of different TVs like this, but it's micro LED. And basically what it's these panels that you can just snap together, and you can just create this arbitrary sized TV of different shapes or whatever. Still ultra high definition, ultra clear. Might have been 4K. I don't remember.
I
don't remember.
At a
Like
minimum.
a caveman.
I think it might have been like a caveman.
I don't want to Netflix and chill on a device you don't have to hold. I don't disagree with that.
I'm with you.
But it doesn't have to be a 75-inch 4K television. It can just be the TV that's over there on the wall. And I'm not necessarily watching, I don't watch television shows. I will put YouTube on the television.
Sure.
Or
see, I don't do that.
You don't?
No, my YouTubing is either mobile or laptop, desktop.
I would say that
I've never even pulled up YouTube on the Xbox.
Really?
Never. Yeah.
Well, I cast a lot. So like,
Okay,
I'll just
that I can see. Yeah,
so
yeah,
like,
I
I
do
just
casting
cast
a lot
to
to the
like,
TV.
I just
That's-
cast to my phone, like from my phone
Yeah.
over there, like, hey, you need to see this thing. Cast it over there and do that thing.
That's fair. I'll give you that one. Yeah,
But yeah,
Yes, I do it more often than I thought.
I like the idea of like the curved television display. I love that idea. Like
Yeah.
curved TV. You get into like the curved phones. Going back to the foldable phone, like you've lost me. You've lost me at the curved like portable device.
Again,
Curved TV. Got it.
it's the interesting cross section between science fiction and how products really come to pass, or how products really come to market. In that, 10 years ago, if you showed me, not even 10 years ago, 5 years ago, if you'd have showed me like some cool like Star Trek with some cool curved display thing, I'd have been like, that's awesome, I want that. And then there's the practicalities of how people use devices, and it right now I just don't think that it works with curved display unless you got some type of super ultra bulletproof glass. Yeah, scratches. You figure out how to fix that, you got it.
No, I'm gonna tell you right now, they ain't gonna figure out how to fix scratches.
Not anytime soon.
I don't know how that's gonna.
Not anytime soon.
I don't know how.
All right, so I beat the TVs to death. Did you see? Okay, there's two more that I have to talk about that were so peak CES. I couldn't stand it. One of them was Audi is demoing this new product or service. I'm not really sure what you would call this, but they call it HoloRide, which is where you can do VR while in the back of a car.
Oh God, why that would make you so sick?
So the interesting thing, that was my initial thought too. So I've talked about this a bunch on the live stream previously. I am a huge VR evangelist. I have an entire space over on that side of the camera that is just almost purely dedicated to home theater and VR stuff.
Get the 3D printer.
I'm not gonna go. Keep going.
Yeah, it's way too far. I'm really big into VR. However, I have done VR long enough and I've demoed it to enough people who have had motion sickness while doing VR. I'm acutely aware of how easy it is to make people, I mean, not just a little sick. I'm talking like 0 to vomiting in no time at all.
That's me. Like the rides at like Hogwarts. Like
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So like
Yes,
that's
sir.
me, and I do not get sick with VR here.
Yeah, at all.
But I don't know how that would work in a car.
And that's the thing that made me interested in this particular story is everyone who tried it said that the experience was synchronized with the movement of the car.
Okay.
And so they didn't get sick. Like, surprisingly, they didn't get sick. And on top of that, it made it very difficult for them to even judge how fast they were going. Like, at one point in time, somebody talked about their experience and basically estimated that they were doing about 30, 35 miles an hour. They were doing 90.
90?
Yeah, they were on a highway. They were going fast.
Huh.
But couldn't tell because of being wrapped up in VR. So I don't get the market.
Yeah, like,
I don't
why would you do
understand
it?
the purpose behind it. The idea is that, like, as self-driving cars go forward, it's just an avenue to kind of start experimenting with in-car entertainment during a time when you're not needed anymore. Like, your attention really isn't needed on the road. Now it is, but in the coming future it won't be. So I thought it was interesting. And then the other one, the all-time peak CES story that I read. Have you heard about Hyundai's new car? Not Honda, Hyundai's new car?
Hyundai?
Yeah.
Well, what was that first one?
Hyundai? That guy? Have you heard about this car? It is a walking car. It walks on 4...
Like Hyundai, like the Hyundai Sonata? Like that
yeah.
Like Hyundai, the brand, or whatever you've been trying to say?
Hyundai.
You and him been talking about Hui? Y'all been talking about some Hui inside Hyundai?
Don't. Eventually you're going to have to come up with a new joke. Eventually.
I don't. Not when he's standing there. I haven't seen him forever. I have to at least make that joke.
That's fair.
But I don't know what you said, but yeah, I've seen it.
Hyundai has a lot. They're trying to build a walking car basically. So it's 4 wheels, right? Normal car, right? Follow, see if you can follow the logic, and then it can basically stand up and walk, a la the Boston Dynamics robot.
Nope. Nope. Why would you do that? You've literally created a Decepticon. You've just created a Decepticon. Decepticon!
Looks just like a Transformer. The idea with this one is that it would allow, for example, people that are trying to do rescue operations, trying to get into areas where there's been a natural disaster or something along those lines. The roads are washed out.
I literally just got
that it could basically walk over top of debris and stuff like that. There's another screenshot that they have of this car. It's snowy road. This car is way down in the ditch, and the car basically walks its way out of the ditch. Super early concept type of stuff, but that's another. I understand what you're going for, right? Enable vehicles to have more mobility to get around different types of obstacles. I'm with you on that one. But talk to anybody in the robotics field. Having bipedal walking like that, or even quadrupedal walking, super difficult engineering problem. All the early demos that they showed was this car basically lifting up 2 wheels at a time, 2 feet at a time walking. If you've got 4 wheels and you lift up 2 of them, you instantly become super duper unstable.
It's this whole CES, again, peak consumer. They are trying to solve a problem that a consumer doesn't know that they have until they see this thing, and then they realize that's a problem. It's this ultimate customer-focused, central, personalization to a consumer for something they don't know that they need, or something that they don't know that they want, or a problem that they don't know that they have.
It's the quintessential nail in search of a hammer.
Yeah, it really is.
But it's cool. I mean, hey, dream big.
But how much money are you wasting on something like that you could be dumping into something else better for your company?
Okay.
That's literally get off my lawn, old man. I feel like you could invest that money better or elsewhere.
I see what you're saying. However, when it comes to new products and new technology and stuff like that, it all comes from dreaming big. And I hate to sound super sappy and dream big, kids, but that's basically what it is. You have to think way outside of the box. Yet another dumb marketing terminology thing.
Go on with all of your buzzword bingo.
Exactly. But if you don't just really, if you don't shoot for the stars, Scott, if you don't shoot for the moon, you'll never land among the stars.
I guess my thing is the problem that they're trying to solve is not necessarily a problem that is really a problem. I guess that's my thing is they're picking the wrong thing by which to go after.
There are definitely products like that.
There are equally bigger things that you could dump money and resources into.
Sure.
That if you just pulled that money out and you're I'm going to try to conquer this other thing, would have a much bigger impact from the consumer perspective in my mind.
I would argue that things like the Hyundai walking car is almost more important in terms of just see how far you can push the technology. Get crazy with it. More important than something like the micro LED wall that you can create 418-inch TV.
Okay, I definitely agree with those 2 particular examples.
Sure.
I definitely agree with
something
that.
where you've basically reached kind of the peak of the technology, like phones, TV, stuff like that. But get creative with it, but you've kind of maximized the form factor that you have there. So other than going bigger or higher resolution, you're not really changing the game very much. I guess having a walking car is kind of a big change.
I guess the way I would look at it is from a walking car perspective, what you're trying to accomplish in a walking car is to get to people or have better mobility or more mobility for folks that may not have it.
Sure.
If you were to take that and actually offer that personalized service, I'm going to make an exoskeleton as an example.
Oh, sure.
If I were to dump those resources into making almost instead of a car size, an individual moving pod, and to basically affect that one particular person, fascinating concept, because then you're giving the mobility back to that one person rather than a taxi full of people.
Okay.
I get it, but that's kind of where my head's at.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Justin actually brings up a really good point. He says, is CES only about current consumers? Isn't it supposed to showcase what could be real in the near future? And again, that's kind of the argument for the things like the folding phones and the...
what is real in the near future type thing.
Agreed.
Or could be.
The problem that I have with that one statement, though, is the near future, because so much of CES is basically just the straight-up vaporware. It's the Hyundai walking car. It's the... Or the product that's who cares? The Alexa integrated toilet?
Yeah, the toilet minus the Alexa, he had me.
Oh, with you.
The lights, the
design,
speaker, the
everything.
design,
Yeah.
had me.
Yeah.
Don't showcase that as an Alexa powered toilet because, I mean, what possible service is she going to offer?
I feel like the Alexa powered toilet is the solar powered flashlight.
Yeah.
It's just kind of a like, okay, you can make a solar powered flashlight.
Right. That's
but
making
why?
it to make it. Like, why would you do that?
Yes.
Like, why would you put Alexa in a toilet? Alexa,
What's the use case?
Alexa in a fridge, that's got a great use case. I need to add this item to my shopping list. Got it. That is a better use case than a toilet.
Do you need Alexa in the fridge, or do you just need a fridge that can, I don't know, like display a list or something?
You just need an Echo Dot next to the fridge.
And that's what I think is really brilliant about the like Google's strategy, for example, and I mean also to an extent Alexa's strategy or Amazon's strategy with the Echo Dot is make it just so cheap to be able to get into the ecosystem that people end up buying it and just scattering these little devices everywhere, and then work on like all the integration, like all the things that are going to work with it, because you've already laid the groundwork. You already have the device there.
Google Assistant Connect basically saying, look, just connect to take your device, connect it to the Google Assistant. We'll basically make everything the Google Assistant.
Yeah.
That's great. They're going to make this whole hyper-connected world with something even as dumb as just a very small black and white display. Great.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. You hit a button, and all of a sudden, like, your travel to work pops up. You can hit that button, like maybe you hit that button when you turn your alarm clock off, in the mirror in your bathroom displays whatever your work is supposed to be, or your calendar, or your trip to work. Alexa toilets, dietary data. Wow. That, you know what? That's not a bad take. Not a bad take.
So the comment is Alexa toilet dietary data collection to seed their whole food ads. That's pretty funny. That's pretty clever.
That is really good. Like, I gotta give credit. Like, credit is due. It's like, I am scanning now.
Yeah.
Let me scan.
Looks like you need more fiber. Would you like me to order you some more Metamucil? We've descended to toilet humor.
Okay, so is there anyone in the comments right now that has an iPhone 10s Max, Google Pixel 3 XL, or an iPhone 10? Leave a comment right now.
If you do, leave a comment, and while we are doing that, there's one other CES thing that popped up since we're kind of transitioning out of the CES topics. One of the other things that was debuted during CES is 5G connectivity, which...
Wait, the real 5G or just the letters 5? Letters? Number 5G?
And this is where AT&T got in a boatload of hot water.
And they should have.
And they should have. And all of their competitors have just been issuing the clapbacks like crazy.
And they should,
lighting them on fire. So 5G has been announced. It's basically the successor to LTE or 4G. Next generation connectivity for your mobile devices, ultra high speed, blah, 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 typical marketing stuff. AT&T decided, however, that it was going to basically push out this fake 5. I mean, it's a real icon that says 5G, but they pushed it out to existing phones. Mine does not.
Yeah, mine doesn't say that.
They pushed it out to existing phones that are 4G capable. Now, the thing is, 5G is your device has to support 5G, and unambiguously, some of the devices that ended up receiving that update did not support 5G. So
no, they did not.
So AT&T dialed that one back and basically issued a big mea culpa, sort of.
Did they?
Well, they just kind of dialed it back and have kind of tried to ride under the radar. Meanwhile, everyone else, T-Mobile, Sprint, everybody, lighting them on fire for it.
Well, I mean, let's not get it twisted. In other carrier news, not that I'm getting off of the 5G,
Sure.
All carriers in general, they have a 5G problem and they have a sharing data problem. So they can go ahead and try to light each other on fire, but no one is safe this week at all.
Agreed.
So the 5G thing, AT&T should absolutely be lit on fire for.
Yeah.
That's legitimate fake news, like false advertising. You say you have 5G.
But you don't.
But you don't. You change an icon.
Now, what I haven't heard yet is whether or not this is the whoopsie, I didn't mean to push it to production stuff that we've talked about in the past.
What was that?
I can't remember now, but yeah, somebody who accidentally pushed something to production that was very clearly like
Instagram.
Oh, that's what it
swiping.
was. The swiping to the left and right
swiping
for
on the left of
yeah.
Instagram. Ooh, yeah, that was a bad.
Not a thing that you just accidentally do. Like there's automation involved, sure, but that was a planned thing. An experiment gone awry, if you will. So something like an icon, I don't know, maybe one icon, you might be able to make the argument that it accidentally got pushed out.
But there was a whole marketing plan. Like,
yeah,
the not just the icon on the phone. Okay, that's an accidental oops.
Yeah.
But when you're like releasing full graphic design 5G,
that's a different story.
Oops, I postal services.
Yeah.
What?
Well, and I don't understand. That's another example of like, what's the game plan here? Like, what's the strategy? Like, let's talk about this a little bit, because I don't fundamentally understand how you're going to push that out and not get called onto the carpet for being deceptive about it.
I mean, they have to, right?
I feel like they have to.
Wow, 5G is 20 times faster than 4G?
Apparently, but here's the thing. Even with 4G, I rarely get 4G speeds. I mean, I get them, sure.
But yeah,
but it's not
sure, like 2 o'clock in the morning.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I would much rather carriers invest in capacity and quit playing games with the like, well, I mean, you've got unlimited data, but it's not unlimited. But if you want unlimited data, give me like $50 more a month, and then you'll get unlimited data.
You get
except after, you know what I mean?
You get unlimited data up to 15 gigs. But then after that, you just give me $10 for extra gig.
Yeah.
But like, no.
But it's unlimited. Like we don't throttle you. So
it's unlimited except when you're using like YouTube and Netflix. But other than that, it's totally unlimited except for Hulu.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
Yeah. Fix the capacity problems, and then let's start talking about going faster. Because I don't care about it downloading faster. Yet another, like, we've kind of reached peak internet in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Most people don't, like, I have 100 meg to the house. I don't ever max out 100 meg down.
I mean,
I can, but I don't.
I want to. Like, I want more. I want that.
I need more internets.
I want that gig. Give me the gig. You never get the gig though.
Google, come to Columbus. Bring Google Fiber to Columbus. I promise.
Google Fiber.
I know. But I'm just saying, maybe they should dust off that technology and just come to Columbus. Silicon Valley, right here, baby.
It's true story. Like, true story. Columbus is hot, up and coming place. You got two people.
A couple years ago, maybe made a video about the top 10 reasons that Google should have brought fiber to Columbus.
There you go. Yeah, I forgot all about that.
Wait, who did that?
It was part of the 30-day challenge, wasn't it?
Did you do that? Wow, Stats out here just throwing some links. Throwing some slinging it out there. Shameless plug from Stats. I'd say leave the link in the chat, but I don't want you to. You can't. I have it turned
Good
off.
Lord. Justin says he has 500 down. He is peaked at 385 down. And I guarantee that was just a peak, and then you fell back off. It would be very difficult to sustain 385 down, let alone 500 down.
I know there's been times I pay for 110 down.
Yeah.
And I'll get up to like 180, and it will sustain there. They're like, well, we don't cap it. We just make sure that at the minimum you get the 110.
Yeah.
I'm not getting 110. I'm not getting 110 sustained all the time.
No.
I can.
Yeah.
And there are times of the day that I do, but it's not sustained. There's no way.
What's interesting is anymore, and this is completely because of what we do day to day, and every Thursday starting at 8 p.m. typically, sometimes, usually, I'm way more interested in guaranteed upload. If I could have guaranteed, just 10 meg, just give me guaranteed 10 meg upload. Oh my god.
10?
Oh my god.
Double it, let's make it 20.
Just 10 alone would do it for me.
Oh god, that would be lovely.
It would be amazing. Guaranteed though, I want minimum 10 meg upload service, minimum. And then I would negotiate on the download.
I bet you if I go look, we might hit 4.
I'll say right now is not a good time to check, because you're either going to cripple the stream.
I kind of want to do it. I love all of you, but science.
Hey, you got a couple of responders as far as who has a max and an X.
Well, the one who has a max is disqualified. And Nate Root, congratulations.
You get a new screen protector.
You get a brand new Whitestone Dome Glass iPhone 10 screen protector.
Which is the same screen protector they have on my phone, which is fantastic.
You just broke.
I did crack it earlier today, but that's, whatever. I'm clumsy like that. What can I say?
I'm not being a jerk. The person who has the Max, he already has one. So.
Oh, he does?
Yeah. I'm not. Yeah. Like, I may sound like, man, that guy's a real jerk. Like, he's disqualified.
At first, I was like,
he has one. As a matter of fact, that person's phone is the phone in the video that will be released about how to install a Whitestone Dome on the XS Max.
Hilarious.
It's his phone. So he's disqualified because I can't do a double glass screen protector on it.
I mean, I
could, I guess, but that's the only reason he's disqualified, because he has one.
So there you go. Congratulations, Mr. Mayor himself.
Mr. Mayor himself, longtime friend of the channel. What?
His brother needs one. We'll talk.
Well, it says I have Max in the comments. It doesn't say brother has Max. Just in fairness.
Also, your brother's not in the comments.
He's not on here. I believe the comment was make sure you jump in for the live show. We're doing a giveaway on the live show.
That is the one.
I'm just throwing it out there.
So while we're talking about phones, there's not a lot that happened at CES with regard to phones because pretty much everyone's waiting till Mobile World Congress, which happens in the coming weeks. I don't remember exactly.
Mobile World Congress would be a week before the Samsung Unpacked February 20th event, so the 27th.
Wow, look at you! You got dates in pocket, man. I knew that it was coming in February, but that's about all I got. So, Mobile World Congress is typically when we will hear a lot about the next generation of phones that are coming to market. Yes, sir.
25 through the 28.
There it is.
I was close.
25 through the 28.
I was close.
So, not a lot to talk about in terms of phones, but there was a phone story that did come up earlier this week.
The Samsung one?
It's really not good look for Samsung.
We were going to argue about this earlier, and then we had to stop.
Yeah, because I'm interested in your take on it. So here's the story. Bloomberg is reporting that Samsung phone users are basically unable to delete Facebook. And I don't know to what extent it affects Samsung models, but more and more people are starting to report now that on their even fairly old Samsung phones, that if you try and delete Facebook, you can't remove the app from the phone itself. You can disable it, and that's about the best that you can do. And this goes back to this deal that Samsung signed with Facebook as far as presumably, and let's be real about this, presumably it's Samsung signed a deal with Facebook. Facebook gets the data from those Samsung phones, and Samsung gets a big fat paycheck.
Yeah.
And people are, rightfully, very upset. Now, my question to you, which is what I put in our show notes, is, big picture, is this fundamentally different than Google or Apple when they bake in applications into the phone itself? And there's kind of two ways that you can take this, and I'm sure that someone is going to side on, well, yeah, but Samsung doesn't own Facebook. I get that.
I get that too. I understand. I guess so I have some questions that I would want to ask. So if I can't delete, so let's assume that I get a Samsung device and I don't have a Facebook account, because I don't. So let's assume that I go out and get the Note 10.
Yeah.
Or whatever the new one is, right? So let's assume that I do that, and I can't delete Facebook off the device. Does Facebook get my data?
Fantastic question. I don't know that anyone has done the A/B testing yet.
Okay.
But let me take that to the next step, though. Even if you don't have a Facebook account at all, Facebook is still gathering data from you, because what most people don't realize is Facebook also owns a lot of ad companies. So as you're going to different websites, as you're clicking on things on different websites, not Facebook, I mean just completely innocuous websites, Facebook is still able to profile and gather data from you just by nature of the fact that those ads show up on the web page that you happen to be looking at.
A perfect good example of this is MyFitnessPal. They are one of the apps that Facebook gets data from, whether you want it or if you have no relationship with Facebook, but you use MyFitnessPal, Facebook has your data. Like, I use MyFitnessPal.
Same here.
And so I know Facebook has my data. So, like, there are choices that you make, I suppose, that if you enter into a relationship with a company, i.e. Samsung for buying a device, there are just certain things that you're going to have to give up if you want.
Yeah.
And getting that data over to Facebook might just be one of them. And this goes to your point with Google, is I can't delete some Google apps on my phone.
Yeah.
But I am choosing to enter into that relationship with Google.
With Google.
With Google.
With Google
yes,
specifically.
With Google specifically, because like there are things that Google will have access to on my phone. I am choosing to go into the relationship with Google on that.
Yeah.
I'm annoyed that other places are getting my data and then selling it to people like Facebook or whom I don't want to conduct business with.
It's the second and third order effects that are becoming the problem.
But the problem is, and I'm not fully versed in all of this, is there are apps or services that I'm probably using today that are openly selling the data that I have to places unbeknownst to me, and I just got to take it.
You just got to deal with it.
But I just don't know it.
And they're not even offering any type of compensation to you.
Oh, no.
Because you are the product.
You are the product.
Consuming the product for free, so that is the compensation.
Right.
You get this service, and you get it for free, and in exchange, you just give up data regarding your usage or browsing habits or what have you. I think the real problem with a lot of this, to your point, is that it's not just about the initial one-to-one connection. It's not me as a consumer opting to do business with you as a company. It's the fact that if I buy a Samsung phone and Samsung signs this deal with Facebook, now I am de facto in a relationship with Facebook, even if I don't have an account.
Correct.
Same thing with just general browsing. Like that, to me, is a problem.
And I don't have a problem, like, I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to talk about the other side of my mouth. Is I don't have a problem entering into a relationship with Facebook if they didn't have the Cambridge Analytica, if they didn't have that part. If I didn't have the data point fact that told me they can't take care of my data properly, still, then I would be less annoyed by that. Like, I'm more annoyed by the fact that they're still getting all of this data and they still cannot correctly handle the data that we're giving them. They're still allowing tons of different people access to the data itself. They can't secure it the right way. They don't know how the data is being used once it exits Facebook. They don't know. They can't say that. Like, once it exits Facebook, they go, well, we just assumed they were doing the right thing.
Yeah.
They have no contracts in place to understand, or maybe they do, and they're not saying that. I mean,
which is also entirely possible. And again, it's the fact that so much of this is backroom deals done where they know full well that they don't want that to reach public knowledge because people will be mad about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Google Plus problem. It's the Google Plus had a security breach. Okay, we have a problem. I will say one thing about Google. In fairness to them, they're like, this is a problem. Shut it down now. Like,
I give them a ton of credit.
They're like, this is a problem. Now we're going to, instead of the end of 19, it's now April 1st or whatever the date is. It's like, no. Now we're going to go like whole hog and shut this off extremely fast because we're not going to support it anymore, and I'm not going to patch this thing. I'm just going to shut it off.
Yeah.
I don't think Facebook has that yet. It's this other problem. Like, the other problem is like we're just getting to a point where data is coming in so fast and so large, we really don't know what to do with it. So we're experiencing these problems firsthand, and we have no history points to say, this is how we should have handled that data. This, like, when this problem happens, do this other thing.
Right.
We don't have that yet. We've never experienced that. So a lot of times we're literally blazing the trail as we go to figure out what to do. Like, oh crap, this situation just came up. Now I know that I can't do this thing.
Right.
Like, we haven't experienced that yet. It's exciting. It's scary. We are literally paving the path for the future, but we kind of have to take them to the chest until we figure that out.
And as a consumer, I'm kind of tired of that. I'm kind of tired of being the one, like, yes, I'm getting the service for free, but I'm kind of tired of at this point, basically being subjected to whatever deals that they want to make without any say whatsoever. And again, it's one thing when the deal is like a one-to-one relationship. It's me and Samsung, it's me and Facebook, and I can choose to terminate either one of those relationships individually. But it's just so convoluted anymore.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is like, people are so desperate to grab onto the data because they know that it's valuable. It's valuable. But here's the thing, they don't know why. Like, they know that it is, and they know that it kind of is.
Well, no, because history has basically proven so far, especially in the last couple of years, that the data is valuable in ways that you just haven't developed the market for. Like, it's it would be like, you know, in the oil rush era, in the Rockefeller era, if somebody were able to kind of see into the future and understand that oil was going to be valuable, so they just started gathering gajillions of gallons of it and just storing it in containers and then saying like, oh yeah, I know that cars are coming. I have this feeling that there's going to be a need for it, and then when you need it, I got it all.
Yeah, I got all the data. I got it. And data is the same way. It's like, I got all this data. Okay, cool. What data do you have? I got more data than I know what to do with.
I have so much data, I don't even know what data I have. Yeah, I got it.
And that's a problem. Like, I got so much data, I don't even know what I have. Okay, well, that's not good either.
Yeah.
Like, you got to catalog that. You got to figure out what you have.
Yeah.
Because what you're basically saying is, I got all this data. You want some? Yeah, sure. Here is access to the entire vault of all data. Okay, what's in there? I don't know, but I got a lot of it.
Yeah, but you got access to it. How much are you gonna pay me?
Like, yeah, go ahead, get it. Like, you want to know things? I got things you can learn in there. Just go into the vault and just keep walking.
Yeah,
and they'll find things that you didn't even know that you could figure out. And the algorithms are so smart nowadays. They will teach themselves a whole language, and then people will be cut out. They'll figure out ways to do things with that data that you didn't even know was possible. All driven by algorithms. Machines are taking over.
Yeah, I mean, I was with you up until the machines generating languages that you don't even know. But again, with the amount of data that's there, I think the fundamental problem with that is, to your point, as far as them having more data than you or they even realize, it's the idea that you could basically build a dossier on a person. You can profile this person to such a ridiculous degree that you can draw some really, really scary conclusions about what their habits are, you know, conclusions that are much closer to home than what most people are comfortable with, just based on gathering a handful of bits of data from a bunch of different areas. And because computation power and storage is so cheap, it doesn't cost much for these companies to just gather data.
I guess where I was going with the language thing is, it's like, what I've seen is people are taking piles of data, dumping it into something, and basically saying, go computers, learn whatever you can think you can learn.
Yeah, you tell me
what you find something, and basically it develops its own language in a way, and then starts to spin up other computers to say, like, let's do this together, and basically create an army of Autobots.
I'm by your powers combined.
By your powers combined.
What do you want to talk about? People doing dumb stuff?
I mean, it hasn't been the last hour.
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's basically how the show started too. So go on behind it.
The show definitely came in hot.
Woo! So, if you're not aware, Netflix recently released a movie called The Bird Box. Or no, The Bird Box? Just Bird Box.
Bird Box.
You've seen it.
I have.
Have either of you seen it?
So dumb.
Okay.
Well, I can't say it. The movie's not dumb. The movie was decent. The repercussions of the movie is the dumb part.
It came up on my feed as
so dumb.
It's gonna knock off Stranger Things. Immediately I was like,
Yeah. Bird Box. How do we spoil? Oh, don't spoil it.
Well, okay. Here, the basic. I'm not even gonna give you the premise, but like a central theme of this movie is the fact that it's Sandra Bullock who stars in it. The entire movie takes place effectively with her wearing a blindfold, trying to navigate around, because there's bad things that happen if the blindfold comes off and you see stuff. That's what I'll tell you.
Yeah.
So people have been doing this thing that they're just calling the Bird Box Challenge, and as you can probably surmise, it involves people wearing blindfolds, doing things that you normally ought do blindfolded.
Yeah, again, Bird Box, great movie, or great, I guess it's a movie.
It's a movie, yeah.
The Bird Box Challenge, that's where the dumb comes in. I saw somebody do the Bird Box Challenge as a tattoo artist. Not kidding.
Oh my.
Yeah, that did not go over well.
Color me surprised.
So the Bird Box Challenge there. What's his name? One of the Paul brothers decided to walk in traffic.
No.
Well, what was it?
It gets even better.
Oh, it's better than walking in traffic?
It's better than walking in traffic.
All right.
So we have also discussed our disdain for the Paul brothers. There's Logan Paul, who got in a boatload of trouble earlier last year for his ill-fated trip to Japan and a particular forest. We'll leave it at that. Jake Paul, his younger brother, to be fair, he did say, hey, y'all probably shouldn't do this. But he also put it up on YouTube and got several, I'm sure, if not hundreds of thousands, millions of views on it. It's, I believe, since been either taken down or for sure demonetized, where he drove his truck blindfolded.
Oh, like he actually put other humans at risk because he's dumb.
Now, he said...
Oh, boy, here we go.
He said, as the disclaimer, don't do this at home. These stunts were performed by professional stunt drivers on closed blah, 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 blah. There is also the bit where he was walking across the street in traffic blindfolded. Again, it's hard to say... I wasn't there, so I don't know how much of it was actually staged versus a real-life thing, but the fundamental problem that I have is if I don't know, and I'm a skeptic looking at this kind of stuff, arguably his audience, who is, by his admission, comprised mostly of like 12 to 16-year-old kids, effectively, for sure aren't leveraging skepticism as they look at this video, and they're just seeing like, haha, that's cool. You're encouraging people to go do this insane stunt. Really dangerous stunt. Really dangerous.
I cannot believe that I am going to say what I'm about to say.
I can't wait
I
for this.
assure you that
All right.
I did not like the. Here's the first
What do
thought,
you got?
hot off the press.
Yeah, what do you got?
There are version of Jackass. In fair, okay, hang on.
I'm with you.
Okay,
I'm
here's,
actually with you
Here's
on
my
this, yeah.
problem: is like the majority of their audience
Yeah.
should know. Don't get
Don't
on.
do it,
Like
yeah.
don't do that. Don't get in a car. Don't get on a bike.
Yeah.
Don't do something blindfolded because that's dumb. I will raise my hand, and I know that I've done some things a la Jackass.
From Jackass.
Absolutely.
Like things that they did on Jackass, you've done them.
Absolutely.
Look, I will also raise my hand because you know what I've thought for a long time? I've always wanted to get a group of like-minded fellers around to do the Gallon Milk Challenge. I want
Right,
to.
like, so that's
I
the thing,
want
is, like,
to.
you
And that
know
is
that-
directly from Jackass.
Right, you know that that's not smart. You know that that's not smart. You
But-
know that you shouldn't do that.
Okay, but there's a fundamental difference between I'm going to do something that's dumb to myself, which I feel like is where the majority of Jackass's stuff lived, is I'm going to do dumb stuff to myself. Steve-O piercing his butt cheeks together? That doesn't hurt anyone but Steve-O.
Okay, no, I get that, but again, the not hurting somebody, driving the car blindfolded, that can hurt just about anybody. That is dumb. Dumb.
Yeah.
But them as a whole, they do dumb things. But
Constantly.
They're the new version of Jackass. They really are. I cannot believe I'm saying this. I hate admitting this.
Yeah.
But to me, that's what that is.
I feel like this is a one-off. I'll give you the comparison to Jackass, but I don't think that they're the new version of it. I think it's just a one-off. They did something for clicks.
They're the terrible, like, dollar store version of Jackass.
Millennial.
No.
No.
We're millennials,
I know.
technically.
Yeah.
We're the oldest
Burned
member.
into the ground for even
Yes.
suggesting that. we're
I
millennials.
wholeheartedly wear my millennial banner, and I don't even care. I absolutely buy in 100%.
I want to beat people in the face when they call me a millennial. Dude, I wish I would.
Millennial! Say it with me! Millennial!
Oh man.
But that's the thing is like,
But I have way more respect. Oh god, this is totally me justifying it. Listening to me justify. Are you ready for it? I have way more respect for the guys from Jackass because that was like what they had a whole bunch of stuff. Like they constantly put themselves through pain to do stuff that most people sitting at home are like, that is so dumb. I cannot believe they did that.
I don't disagree.
A handful of things that I feel like Jackass got in trouble for kids going and replicating.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, to an extent, I'm sure that there are enough kids that were watching that said, hey man, like, that's dumb. You shouldn't do that. But I would be curious to hear what the reach difference was. Did Jackass ever reach, on a regular basis, the same number of kids that, like, Jake and Logan Paul did?
Absolutely not. No way.
That's my thought of it,
Yeah,
too.
I was gonna say,
so the
because
reach
it
is
was a different-
substantially wider.
It's a way different time now.
Yeah.
Like if you ask kids in school today, right now,
Oh,
what do you want to
God.
be when you get older? What do you want to be when you get older? I bet you more than 50% say YouTuber. I would be, hand to God, I bet you more than say 50% would say YouTuber.
I don't know about 50%. I'm sure that there's a lot.
I bet there's a lot.
Hang on. I got to talk about, Justin has a great comment. Ryan Dunn just rolled over in his grave. First of all, Ryan Dunn, rest in peace.
Second of all,
I miss that dude.
Second
he
of
was
all,
my favorite one. By the way.
That statement solidifies my argument.
Yeah.
Unequivocally.
I'm with you. I'm skeptical at the 50% thing. I don't think that it's that many people, but I think it's enough to be concerning to. I'm sure every educator on the planet is just matter of fact, I know this. There are people in my family that are involved in education, and they talk about how kids in the classroom. It is a massive problem to have kids in the classroom on their phones and just constantly distracted by not only the devices but also social media, which is contributing to, adolescent depression and suicide and everything else. So it's a massive problem because of the reach that those devices and stuff like that have. So yeah, I don't think it's 50%.
I'm gonna say 50%.
But I'm sure it's a lot.
I'm gonna say 50%. I have no data to back that up, other than
that's a pure stab in the dark.
Yeah, but it's a stab in the dark based on, obviously I have kids, so like there are kids that I know that hang around, and they mention a lot wanting to be YouTuber.
My son wants to. My son knows what we do. This is the funny part. He knows that I do YouTube and I do computer stuff. So he knows, like, the actual job that I get paid for, he has no clue. It's something with computers.
Chandler Bing effect.
Exactly. My wife made that reference last night. Yep. She's like, I don't really know what you do. I know that you do computer stuff. Mm-hmm. So when she's talking to the people she works with and they ask, what does your husband do? She's like, something with computers.
Right.
She specifically mentioned that episode. But my son knows that we do YouTube. And wants to. I have a bunch of videos that I've recorded. Obviously, I'll never release them, but videos of like him and I just sitting down pretending like we're releasing YouTube content. He loves it. He thinks it's great. And
I'm telling you, 50%. I would be willing to bet if you walk into a classroom.
Banks is on my side.
Well, Banks is just picking a side because
I'm with Greg. Less than 50%. Those are your nieces and nephews.
He can go ahead and talk all he wants, but like he always chooses whatever the opposite side of me is, and it's fine.
He's choosing my side because I'm right, and I'm just glad that real recognize real, and he knows. He knows.
God, you know what? I cannot wait to poll a classroom. What do you want to be when you grow up? And I swear to all the Tolly, if it's 50%, I will never let the two of you ever forget that. I will never, ever let the two of you forget that for being as wrong as you currently are. And it's on the internet, which is even better. I don't even have to delete it.
Yeah, I guess so. Do you have anything else?
No, I don't have anything else.
I feel bad. Larry just joined us. He said,
bye, Larry.
Bye, Felicia. He says, bye. I'm way late. I'll have to watch the stream again. New network. Womp womp.
New network? Oh, you must have gone with that WoW network.
Familiar with that one, buddy.
Ooh.
Yeah.
All right. Make sure you weren't here for the other live event. We'll tell you about that one tomorrow.
Yeah. That was a fun one, Larry. Sorry you missed that one.
Oh, that was a good one. That was a good one.
So Justin says, I'm almost always against Greg. Tonight, Scott is wrong. Cool. So, glad you could burn me to the ground, too. I love that, like, we've been getting along great this whole stream, and then you still found a way to shiv me while still being against him.
Ubiquity? Okay, ubiquity.
Oh, I want to talk more about that one. I've had my eye on some ubiquity gear for a long time.
LOL ubiquity.
Yeah.
I feel you.
You got anything else?
I got nothing.
Cool. That's going to do it for us for this week. Thank you all so much for stopping by to check out the stream. We love and appreciate all of you. By the way, our lower thirds has been stuck on my Twitter handle the entire time, so I feel like I don't even really got to, pimp myself, because it's just at Ominous Hominy. The thing you've seen for the last, hour plus in change.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I just noticed it 20 minutes ago.
God, I'm so glad that you really support the other creator on this channel.
It's not really important. I do everything for this part of the show, so, why should I not pimp myself?
Okay.
Go for it.
We'll go for that.
All right.
Who's doing the video this week? That was a legit question.
Great question. I got some stuff in the pipeline.
Do you have it recorded?
No.
Okay.
I don't.
Tomorrow's Friday.
Well aware.
Not sure if you're aware of it.
Well aware of that one. So.
I have a couple in the chamber.
Ready to go for this weekend?
If I spent some time editing, yeah.
We'll talk about that one offline. About whether or not who wants to do it. I've got two that I have written and they're ready to go. We made a home automation purchase over the Christmas time holiday that has been interesting. We have robotic vacuums and robotic
Oh,
mops.
I was like, what did you buy?
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I'm not 100% sold on it, so that's just a little bit of teaser for that video that's coming. You also have one.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You have both of them actually. You've got the same exact products.
I want to say it so bad. I want to say their name so bad. I want to.
Oh,
I want to say the.
So look, because you were all so fantastic and you're showing up. So I've got a robotic vacuum and a robotic mop, and part of the kind of, I don't know, it's like the rite of passage that you name them. You give them goofy names. So you have like weirdly specific names for yours.
Yeah, Saturday and Sunday.
So, and my kids they didn't get any of the references. So they were trying to come up with days of the week, and so they just kept changing over and over again. Like, let's call it Monday and Tuesday, let's call it Wednesday and Thursday. And I got frustrated because I couldn't remember any of that. I was like, no, from now on, the vacuum is called Sucky, and the mop is called Wipey. So now, legitimately, in the app and everything, the robots are called Sucky and Wipey. And we reference their names on a daily basis. Hey, babe, did you set Sucky to go off at 2 a.m? Cool. What about Wipey? Did you schedule Wipey? Okay, cool. Like, it's a legitimate conversation that we have now.
It's
I stand by that.
super interesting because mine was like, hey, what is the name of Tony's assistant?
Yes.
In the new Iron Man.
Not Jarvis.
Not Jarvis. What's the new one? What's Friday? Which stands as like a really long acronym.
Yeah.
It stands for something.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, cool. Here's what I'm gonna do. Saturday is the name of the Roomba.
Yeah.
Sunday is the name of the Wipey.
Yeah, the Wipey.
So, no, they have not smeared any pet waste. But I can tell you, thank the Lord that I did not charge it one night. Otherwise, I'd have had pet vomit everywhere.
Oh.
Everywhere. Oh, so I can assure you that it's not. It's
not foolproof.
No, it is definitely not.
It's not foolproof.
Oh god.
So stay tuned for I'm gonna have
Sucky and Wipey
for Sucky and Wipey's appearance on Technically Speaking. I'm gonna have 2 back-to-back videos for that one. If not this week, we'll talk about that next week. Depends on whether or not my wife goes back to work. We'll see.
Okay.
Womp womp.
All right.
Yeah, so that's going to do it for us for this week. Thank you all so much for stopping by. Again, find me on Twitter at Ominous Hominid. You can find him some other place. I don't know. It's not important.
That's aggressive. You can find me in the CEO chair.
Yeah.
Running this thing.
Yeah. Steering this boat.
I am the captain now. I am the captain now.
You going to do your socials? Or am I just going to end this?
I don't even know what my socials are. At the Scott Peachy on Instagram and at Scott Peachy on the tweet machine. Did you just
No,
end the show?
no, I did not just
I
end
thought
it.
you just ended the show
No.
randomly like, okay, well, I guess we're done.
Remote control over there. Michael Daniels, matter of fact, you showed up a little bit later. We should have a conversation. I know that you're an OBS user. Yeah. We've made some changes. You might be interested.
Significant.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's going to do it for us. Check
Sucky and
back.
Wipey out.
I'm not sure which one I called dibs on. Sucky or Wipey. Oh, my God. All right, we'll see you all next week. Same time, Thursday, 8 p.m. Thanks, everybody.
All right, bye.